The other side of what my team does is a lot of agriculture stuff, and that's been really fun being a part of that because I've always been adjacent to that, being from Alberta,
Right.
but now working in it has been really great.
Oh. Now, are you out of Nashville or where are you based out of?
Yeah, our office is in Nashville, but just the nature of my work, I
You're
am
all over.
driving all over Tennessee and Kentucky.
Well, that's cool. Well, yeah, again, I'm excited about it. I got to preview your presentation. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Great. I'm so excited to be on the show. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm glad Renee could find time and to get it to work. She does such a good job at scheduling, getting people on here. But yeah,
Yeah.
we really appreciate it. Right. So you'll live on YouTube for a while. So, uh,
Yeah, my
you,
YouTube
yeah,
debut here.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say you can point folks to this later if you need or whatever.
Yeah. All my family.
Yes.
They'll be
Hey, honestly, yeah. Hey, you're YouTube famous. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, good deal. And I guess Renee, you already probably gave her the spiel on how we run the show.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. And I know we got Dr. Crocker be joining after your presentation. So,
Mm-hmm. It's not doing it now, but you look like you were in Minecraft there for several times
who, me?
with your camera. Yeah, it was like
Oh,
green, like jaggedy all the way around. It was weird. I was like, interesting.
uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know. I just had to do an update on my computer. Hopefully it didn't mess anything else up.
Well, it's not done it for a little bit, but when you
Okay.
first got on, it was constant,
You're
or
like,
at
what's
least it
going
was on
on
my
here?
end.
Yeah.
Just talked to Ellen, so she should be.
Yeah, I saw her in the hallway.
Mhm. Got about 5 minutes. Kayla, do you have any questions for us?
Um, I don't think so. I think I'm as ready as I'm gonna be.
I understand.
Yeah.
Uh,
Thank you though.
Renee, I'm wondering, Kayla, can we get maybe, let's change your video settings so I wonder if we can mirror her camera.
Oh yeah, because it's
Her back,
backwards.
yeah, because your
Oh,
logo
is
is
this
background. You
I
might go
can
into,
change it because I flipped it
No,
because I was seeing it and I was like,
yeah,
oh,
it
is it
should look
yeah, you have
backwards?
to
opposite to
flip
you.
it the
It
other way.
should,
Yeah.
if it looks opposite to you, it'll look good for everybody else.
Okay, I can change it
Yeah,
back.
flip it. I
Um,
didn't know because, yeah, I didn't know if it's something we could help with or, I
sorry,
know it.
one
You
No,
have to
you're
get back.
good.
She'll have to
second.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in
Um,
the video settings, at least on Zoom, you may have be able to do it differently, but in the video settings on Zoom, there is a video where it says mirror my video preview. Just toggle that, should get it.
okay, how do I
So on the video,
change
you see the camera.
background?
Yep. You see the little camera icon down in the lower right of the Zoom window.
Oh,
There's
choose
there,
background. Yeah.
there's a caret there. Yeah. Yep. Or adjust background effects or whatever. I think it is. Or video settings will get you there too.
Okay, does that look better?
Let's see, did that flip it?
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Now it reads right for us, but
Okay, good.
opposite for you. Yeah. So like
Great.
mine is opposite on mine, but you all should see it
Oh,
normal.
I
Yeah.
see it. Yeah, the
Yep.
that's confusing. Yeah.
I know it is. It takes a little while to get oriented. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with mine because mine's right on my end. I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it
Mine's
backwards anymore.
opposite. Yeah.
I always used to see it backwards, and now I don't see it backwards. So I don't
Well,
know.
it looks normal to me, Renee. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's good. Because then when we said that, I was like, "Ooh, I wonder if mine's wrong," because I'm seeing it just fine.
Well, mine looks opposite to me. So
I don't know. We've got about 3 minutes.
yeah. We'll probably open it up here in another minute or so, let folks start jumping in. And then, so Kayla, right? Kayla.
Mhm. Yeah.
It is going to be, so you're going to kind of introduce it a little bit and then kind of wrap it up afterwards. Is that kind of the plan? Okay, good
Mhm.
deal. And I'll get it playing
Mhm.
for us, so I'll cue it up and get it going.
I
I'll
guess,
just say,
the beginning of the presentation kind of talks that background about the compact and
Yeah,
stuff like that. So I don't know how much you guys
that's
want me
fine.
to get into that,
Maybe
because it'll
not
be
any. Yeah.
repetition.
Yeah. I mean, we'll recognize you as a new guest. I always love having first time guests on here, try to grow the audience. So,
Yeah.
so we'll
how
brag
long
on
have
you
you
on
been in
that.
your position?
I took over as division manager at the beginning of October.
Oh,
And before
congratulations.
that, oh, thank you. I came on as a program coordinator and then was shortly operating as the program manager for like the Minelands work, and now I've just
Yeah.
taken it all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm glad we've gotten to kind of connect with you all and appreciate your support down in Whitley County too.
No, I really appreciate you guys, giving me this platform, and,
Yeah.
being able to reach more people is huge.
Yeah, I mean, we want to help our landowners however we can. So yeah,
Mhm.
and help our natural resources. So the work you're doing is really important, and
Mhm.
if we can support it, we want to. So
We need to go ahead and start the
yep.
webinar. I
All
don't
right,
know
we'll
how
get
it
you
is,
drop your
but it should be good.
camera. Okay.
Okay.
At least it's warming up a little bit, right?
I know.
It's not 21 degrees outside and snowing.
Yes, yes, that's.
Oh, it was so cold.
I know. Yeah.
So funny. This morning I got up and got to my car. I was like, hey, it's warm out. It was like 40.
I know I know it's all relative. We're gonna be hitting the 60s, I think, soon. So.
Yes, exactly.
The wonderful thing about being in Kentucky, right?
Mhm.
If you don't like the weather, wait a few minutes.
Just wait a few minutes. It'll change.
Yes. Folks, hopefully everybody's doing okay out there. We're excited. We got a first timer on today. It's always great to get a new first time guest and talking about a really kind of cool project they've got going on.
Yeah.
Near and dear to Renee and my heart, for sure.
11 o'clock. Are you ready to go?
Let's go ahead and get this.
I've got it recorded.
Yep.
All right. Hi, I'm Renee Williams.
And I'm Billy Thomas.
And welcome to another edition of From the Woods today. We have two definitely interesting topics today, which I know I say that all the time, but I think every topic we have would be something that people would be interested in, right?
Yes, Renee, you do such a good job in getting us great guests here. I really appreciate that. But welcome, everybody. So glad to have you all with us on From the Woods today. We've got a great program today. We've got a first timer. I know. We always get so excited about first timer guests. And, we're really excited to have Kaylee with us. She's with the Cumberland River Compact, and she's going to be talking about the work that they do. And, we were talking with Kaylee a little bit earlier, and Renee and I are both really near and dear to this project because it's about the Cumberland River, right, in southern Kentucky, but it's where we grew up in Bell County and Harlan County, kind of make up the headwaters of that area up in there. So, yeah, we're really excited to learn from the work that they're doing. We also have Dr. Ellen Crocker with us. Always great having Dr. Ellen Crocker, another episode of What's Bugging My Woods, a really interesting one on there. So I'm really excited to have both our guests on today, but it's really all about you all. So we're glad to have you all with us. We certainly appreciate it. If you're on YouTube or you're a podcast listener, we really thank you. If you want to interact with us, use our email at forestry.extension@uky.edu, and we can interact with you that way. Or if you're on Zoom with us live, you can hit us up via chat, and you can interact with our guests and us as well. But Renee, glad to be with you today on this beautiful, warming day here in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah, like I said before the show, it's a little warmer than it was before.
It's all relative, right?
It is, 21, it's freezing. You walk outside, it's 40, and it's like, oh, heat wave, Not so much, but let's go ahead and get started. So, Kayla, if you want to turn your camera on.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. So excited to have you on the show. Thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, gets really excited over first timers.
Yeah, thank you for such a warm welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so happy to be a part of the show. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I guess, I have a presentation about our, specifically our Minelands work that we do, but there's a little bit more about the compact itself.
Okay.
Same with
That'd be
you.
good.
Well,
All
we'll
right.
get that going, but I did want to thank you all very much because you all came and supported our Kentucky Woodland Owner Short Course this year. You were with us in Whitley County, and thank you for that, helping out landowners down there. So we had the chance to work with you this summer, but really appreciate your shop and what you all are trying to do there, and looking forward to the presentation. And
Oh,
Renee, I didn't mean
awesome.
to cut you off.
That's okay. We'll go ahead and get that video going, and then people can ask you questions afterwards.
Hello, thank you for having me on From the Woods today. My name is Kayla Walton Sather, and I work for the Cumberland River Compact, a watershed nonprofit based in Nashville, Tennessee. I'll be talking about our Mineland Reforestation Program and how landowners can benefit from it. I'll cover a little background on the compact and how our program works and what kind of projects we're looking for. As I said, we're a nonprofit organization. We work to advance clean and abundant water in the Cumberland River Basin. Our mission statement is to improve the health and enjoyment of the Cumberland River and its tributaries through education, action, and collaboration. We were founded over 25 years ago, and we seek to address root causes of water pollution by giving people the tools and information they need to be smart, impactful stewards of their watershed. We know that clean water is something in everyone's best interest, so we work with all kinds of people, government, and businesses to achieve this goal we all share. We work on the root problems of water pollution, both urban and rural, and through that we work to protect native habitats, restore biodiversity, and provide clean water for all. Our people-centric approach guides how we care for, restore, and protect this region for future generations. We support individuals and communities in their conservation efforts and empower them to care for their land and water. We believe in the power of action. Our projects are intended to serve as an example of what is possible, and we hope they inspire individuals and communities in their conservation efforts. We welcome diversity of thought, innovation, and participation from stakeholders across the Cumberland River Basin. Our goal is to give people the tools to be smart, impactful stewards of their watershed, and to constructively partner with governments, communities, and other organizations to address the most pressing water and environmental issues in our region. This is a map of the area that we serve. The Cumberland River Basin is 18,000 square miles and holds 28,000 miles of streams and rivers, covering 1/3 in Kentucky and 2/3 in Tennessee. This area is home to 3 million people and thousands of species. It is one of the most biodiverse regions in the world. When a raindrop falls in this region, it eventually makes its way to the Cumberland River. Protecting and restoring creeks and streams and rivers in the basin is crucial to providing clean drinking water and thriving habitats for plants and animals and people. We have 4 divisions to address water pollution issues. Our Urban Waters Division works within cities, mainly Nashville, to implement tree planting and depave initiatives. Our education team delivers school programs and works with students and teachers alike. And we have a stream restoration team that does both large and small scale stream restoration work, like revamping degraded streams and dam removals. And then the Working Lands Division, which is the team that I run. The Working Lands Division works to increase conservation and water quality on working lands, or lands that we derive income from. In our case, that's farming and land that was formerly mined for coal. Coal mining, heavy machinery, and inadequate restoration efforts have left large swaths of land that are nearly barren or covered in invasive species and stunted trees that fail to thrive in the compacted soil. Our Mineland Reforestation Program works with private landowners to reforest land that has been improperly restored or not at all after mining activities have ceased. We work with landowners in Kentucky and Tennessee to restore native forests on their properties and have planted over 74,000 seedlings on previously mined lands. Our approach improves water quality, reduces erosion, supports wildlife habitat, and can reduce flooding. We got into this work because we saw a vacancy in the small to medium scale land projects. There are really big names out there like Green Forest Work who are restoring thousands of acres of land, but there wasn't a lot of options for private landowners who maybe only have a couple hundred acres or less and want to bring back a native forest, at least not in our region, and that's how we started developing our program to fill that middle place void. The goal of our program is to restore native forests in southern Appalachia to improve soil health and water absorption, mitigate flooding, improve habitat for wildlife, and enhance water quality downstream from the previously mined sites. We are able to do this work through grants and private foundations. We are mainly funded through National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, the Chubb Charitable Foundation, Google, and Suntory Global Spirits. When we started this program, we worked with ARI, the Appalachian Regional Reforestation Initiative, to learn and adopt the forestry reclamation approach. The forestry reclamation approach, or FRA, is a proven method for restoring coal-mined lands back into healthy, productive forests under the Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act, or SMCRA for short. Developed through years of research and field experience, the FRA can provide a cost-effective way for mine operators to meet reclamation standards while also creating long-term environmental and economic benefits. The process focuses on rebuilding a suitable rooting medium, minimizing soil compaction, planting compatible ground covers, and establishing a mix of early successional and high-value native tree species. In our projects, this involves removing invasive vegetation through a process called scalping, then loosening compacted soils through cross-ripping, and planting diverse native trees and shrubs to jumpstart forest recovery. When implemented correctly, the FRA restores the land's natural productivity, enhances water quality and wildlife habitat, and accelerates the return of native forests through natural succession, ultimately transforming degraded mine lands into thriving, self-sustaining ecosystems. Here's a clip from one of our recent sites that was taken by our project partner, Link Elmore, with the Nature Conservancy. You can see here the nice cross rips that are on an 8-foot by 8-foot spacing. And here is the Cat D9 dozer ripping that first pass on the other hillside. Once completed, that pass, he will work from the top back portion of the site and pull perpendicular rips and finish at the staging site so as not to track over the ground that has been decompacted. The ripper shank pulled behind the dozer breaks up the compacted soil down to 4 feet from the surface. We will then come in and plant at the intersection of those rips, and usually that works out to be about 700 stems per acre, unless we're adjusting for a certain site goal. These are the species that we largely plant. We aim to plant 14 to 17 native species on each site, and we'll select an assortment from this list based on the nursery availability, site conditions, topography, and any targeted wildlife species we're aiming to create habitat for. This is a breakdown of the composition of how we plant those species on each site. Our funding partner, Suntory Global Spirits, is part of the White Oak Initiative and has helped shape how we determine this composition. We try to have 40 to 50, even sometimes 60% white oak and 15% shortleaf pine. Sometimes we will use white pine if there's a shortage on shortleaf pine. And then we have another 20% of various oaks and hickories, and the remaining 15% is to help increase diversity, and we'll include some shrub species for wildlife. Here's some of the main partners and organizations we have worked with that have helped make this work possible. We have been fortunate to receive guidance and in-kind support from OSMRE, GFW, RE, and the University of Tennessee. The Nature Conservancy and state agencies like the Department of Forestry, TDEC, and TWRA have been instrumental in connecting us with landowners and implementing projects. The mentorship and guidance from working with these folks has really helped shape our program and grow our understanding. Mountain Ridge have been expert operators and has had a lot of experience working on sites like these, and is just a small business out of Kentucky. Williams Forestry, who we have often contracted to plant our sites, has been a huge support in sourcing seedlings and providing advice on which species to use and where. We opt to use the local labor force as much as possible. So, how is this all coming together for us? Well, here is the first site that we completed in 2024. This project was in partnership with the Nature Conservancy as part of the Cumberland Forest Project. It was a 42-acre site in East Tennessee that had compacted soil, stunted trees, and was getting dominated by invasives like autumn olive, royal paulownia, and tree of heaven. Going left to right in these pictures, you can see the first one. This is the site after it had been ripped. It was being planted by the tree planters at 700 stems per acre. We planted close to 30,000 seedlings on this site. And this middle picture you see is 3 months after that planting. You can see there are more forbs and herbaceous plants coming up. We had estimated there's about 70% ground cover at this point, which is already working to improve drainage and reduce erosion. And the far right picture is 5 months after planting. There was very little bare ground at this point, and we did a seedling survival survey and found 81% survivorship from the planted seedlings. Their FRA method aims to have about 70%, so we were very happy with these results. During the survey, we also found natural regeneration of white oak and pine and black locust, as well as an increase in diversity of native plants that were not planted, like clover, common ragweed, elderberry, goldenrod, partridge pea, silver maple, various asters, and yarrow, rather than invasives coming back in. So overall, this first project was a huge success for us. Here, these are some photos from our first site. This is the site beforehand when we were assessing the vegetation and the project perimeter. And this is the equipment that's on the site. You can see the large dozers that we used to complete the earthworks. This is the site after it had been ripped. You can see all the rough and loose texture on the site. Makes for a great rooting medium. Here's just another shot of the after ripping. And this is the planting crew prepping the seedlings before they go in the ground. We will mix the bundles so that the species are evenly dispersed throughout the site. Here's the site 3 months after it was planted, and you can see these newly growing seedlings, and you can see that the herbaceous ground cover is coming in nicely. In the spring of 2024, as part of the American Society for Reclamation Science, we had government agencies, professors, grad students, and other nonprofits tour our site to take a look at the work that we had been completing. And this is what you're seeing here in the pictures, that we were gathered on our site and checking out the vegetation and how the trees were growing, and all the feedback we got on our first project was very positive. And then this is the site. After the first growing season, you can see that all that bare ground that you saw in those post-ripping photos is now covered with vegetation, and our trees are growing in there. After each project, we will do a follow-up survey after the first growing season to check on the seedlings and make sure the site is progressing as we expect it to. So here you can see us, we are conducting a survivability survey, and we're using a fixed circular plot to count stem density and check on the trees that were planted, as well as to capture any natural regeneration that has happened since our reforestation work. Since then, we have been ramping up our program, aiming for more acreage each year, and to date we have planted over 74,000 seedlings on 122 acres in 2 years. This year, we just started our largest project to date of 150 acres in Letcher County, Kentucky. In partnership with Green Forest Work, we will see over 100,000 seedlings planted there in early 2026. Here's the project that we have most recently started in Letcher County, Kentucky. These are some before shots of the site. You can see that there's very little going on, very little growth, but you can see the adjacent forest. That's what should be growing on that land and currently isn't. This is just another before photo. You can see the trees are fairly spaced out and you don't really have any kind of canopy closure or any resemblance of a forest here at all. This bare ground that you're seeing, this has been scalped, so we have used a dozer to push away any of the invasive vegetation, or what you saw in that previous photo, that there was not much vegetation growing at all. And it gets pushed into windrows. This is another angle of the scalping work. So you can see that the blade in front of the dozer pushes that vegetation into those windrows along the edge of the site. Those are left on site to decompose and add organic matter into the soil. Here you can see the dozer in action, pushing that material into those windrows. This helps to remove that top layer of soil that will carry the invasive seed bank in it. And so this is how we are able to remove invasive species off of the landscape and give the native ones a better chance. The projects we're seeking to take on have a few requirements. We are focusing on working with private landowners located in eastern Kentucky and Tennessee. Thanks to our NIFWIF funding, we have the flexibility to expand beyond the Cumberland River Basin and include projects within the Cumberland Plateau region as well. So just to be more clear, here's a look at our service area that we work on these projects in. This is a map of Tennessee and Kentucky with the counties outlined. So if you recognize your county there, it might help give you a point of reference. But that darker green color, our priority 1 area, that is the Cumberland River Basin. And then the lighter green area is our priority 2 area, and that includes the Cumberland Plateau and the southern Appalachian part of Tennessee and Kentucky. So in those areas, we are eligible for our reforestation work. But if you find yourself kind of on that eastern edge or on the other side of the boundary of those priority areas, your property may still be eligible for this kind of work, and is always worth it to reach out and find out more from us. We work on bond release surface mines that were mined after 1977 or after the Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act came into effect, where reforestation is likely to occur in a reasonable time frame without intervention. This can look like barren land with little to no ground cover, a moonscape type, or be vegetated but dominated by invasives and stunted trees. By reestablishing native forests, these projects improve water quality and increase water infiltration by reducing runoff and sedimentation into nearby streams. And they can also help reduce flooding events by mitigating water that was previously running off. Reforested sites also support biodiversity, providing essential habitat for wildlife, birds, and pollinators. Connecting fragmented landscapes can introduce important species like bobwhite quail back onto your land. Importantly, participation in the program places no constraints on landowners or their property deeds, allowing them to enhance the health and productivity of their land while maintaining full ownership and flexibility for future use. If this sounds like your property or you're interested in the benefits of reforestation, please reach out. I want to thank you for listening to me today. please keep in touch. If you want to stay up to date with what the compact is working on, you can follow us on Instagram at CR Compact or on Facebook at the Cumberland River Compact. If you have any questions or you're interested in reforesting your land, please reach out to our email or check out our website, cumberlandrivercompact.org.
Well, that was a wonderful presentation. We really appreciate that, that you giving this to us. And you said there was 700 trees planted per acre. Was that right?
That's right.
Wow.
That's the density that we typically use. There has been exceptions. We had a site this past year that we actually planted at a lower density because we were working with TWRA and they're hoping to establish elk habitat. So 700s are standard, but it doesn't have to be.
Well, I was going to ask, what is the survival rate?
So your aim is to have 70%. So you're overplanting what you want to have as a final product because through browse, disease, weather, you're going to lose some amount of seedlings. So you have to kind of, keep that in your equation. So, if we have 30% or less loss, that's a great job.
Wonderful.
Wow. I thank you all for the work you're doing. I mentioned our personal connection to the region, and I really appreciate what you all are trying to do. So I hope that our viewers and our listeners will share this with their audiences that they have. We have a lot of county extension agents and others on this. So if you know of folks that could be eligible for this, please get them in contact with the Cumberland River Compact. They're great people doing great work, and we'll all benefit from the work you all are doing. So Kayla, thank you. It was really a good presentation. I hope you get flooded with that.
I do too.
I really do, honestly.
Yeah.
We did have one question too about ground cover. Was it planted or spread? And if it went away. Okay. What keeps invasive weeds from strangling the seedlings?
That's a great question. So we don't plant or seed the herbaceous ground cover. That is an option. But for now, our main expenses go towards the decompaction and the seedlings. But you can absolutely seed for native grasses and forbs. The reason why, we're not doing that currently, or, you don't have to, and you can still have success with your site is beforehand, the site, that really compacted soil, that is preventing the seeds that are there. You do have that native seed bank present, but they're just not able to germinate because of that soil condition. Whereas invasive species, they are better at tolerating that really compacted soil because they root maybe a fraction of what a native plant can do. As far as going deep into the soil. So they are just taking up that space because they don't have a lot of competition. But as soon as we are decompacting that soil, that's allowing that native seed bank that is existing in that area and coming in from that adjacent forest to germinate. And just that competition alone is what kind of helps prevent, a good proportion of that invasive species that were there before. Now, that's not to say they're going to be gone totally. It's so hard. You never want to say it's zero, but it gives the native species a good enough chance to outcompete and establish there. And all these sites do require some amount of ongoing management. This isn't like a one and done kind of procedure at all. But I think just giving, the natives the best chance they can really does, put you ahead and give you a good chance.
No.
So we've got some people who want to volunteer. We got an information at
is that a good email?
info@compact.org. Is that a good for volunteers? Okay, so there you
thank
can
you, Lori,
volunteer
for
that.
the
Thank you,
assist
Lori,
there.
for that. One other person wanted to know if you can explain why white oaks are planted at the largest percentage.
Mm-hmm. So the reason for that is our funder, Centauri Global Spirits. They are known for their bourbon. So you need white oak barrels. So they want to ensure that there's going to be white oaks out on the landscape, generations to come, and that there's enough that they can sustainably harvest and not have to come in and clear cut a section, or we're moving away from that. So that's why there is a large amount of white oak. It's also can be beneficial to the landowner, that's something that can generate income down the line. And part of our mission is to uplift these communities, and it's environmentally beneficial, but this can also have an economic benefit for maybe your future generations. I'll say.
Oh, no doubt. I would say we push white oak around here too for all of those reasons, right? It's really important. It's also what would normally be there, right? I mean, we would expect to find white oak there in higher percentages. Most of our forests in Kentucky are considered oak hickory, meaning that at least 75% of the canopy is comprised of oaks and hickory. So that's what we need. That's what should be there, as far as we know. So no, I think it's a good match, and and it's one of the most valuable wildlife species there are. So makes sense. It's a good choice. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Kayla.
Let's get her some people, folks. Okay, I want to send
people.
No, we need to send some applicants to you for sure, so we can grow your numbers, right? Because the more trees you get planted, the more acres you all kind of take care of, the better off we'll all be. So really keep up the great work. It's really impressive.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, we'll have to hear from you again in the future. Let us know how things are going. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do a part 2.
Yes,
it's gonna be awesome.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for being part of the show.
Bye.
All right. Coming up next, we have Dr. Ellen Crocker.
We always love Dr. Crocker.
She has an edition of What is Bugging My Tree?
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Well, good. And it's hard to follow up Kayla because it sounds like some really exciting work. So she's talking about all the great things that they're doing to get trees in the ground. And I'm going to talk about a problem that might be impacting your trees.
That's part of the big picture.
Part of the circle, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So today I'm going to be talking about hypoxylon canker.
Oh, very cool. Look forward to it. Thank you again for doing this.
Oh, of course, my pleasure. So if you are seeing smooth black or gray patches on your trees, it could be hypoxylon canker, which is a fungal pathogen that is very common and contributes to the decline, especially of stressed trees. In this edition of What's Bugging My Tree, I'm going to talk a little bit about hypoxylon canker, what it is, and what it means for your trees. So what is hypoxylon canker? It's a disease of hardwood trees in our area that results in cankers on branches and trunks. And here you can see one of those cankers, this smooth patch here, almost like a plate. That's the fungus that is growing and has kind of grown so much that the bark has flaken off and it's taken over. Now, while the term hypoxylon is commonly used, and I'm going to use it here, it's also called Biscogniaxia canker. It's the same thing, it's just different names for the fungus that causes the disease. Previously, we called these fungi hypoxylon. Now we call them Biscogniaxia, but here I'm going to say hypoxylon because Biscogniaxia is kind of a mouthful. So we're going to stick with that. But if you hear those two different terms used, we're talking about the same thing. The cankers, which are caused by the growth of the fungus in the sapwood of the tree, can result in the dieback of branches or even tree death if the trunk becomes infected. So here you can see more of those smooth cankers. And hypoxylon they're opportunistic pathogens. So they usually just live inside of the tree and don't do anything. In healthy trees, they're just hanging out. And in this form, as far as we know, they're not doing a lot. They're just there waiting for the right opportunities to come up so that they can take off. So then when trees get stressed, are weakened or are damaged, they can grow and can cause damage to the tree. So I'll give you one example of this. This is a tree that's on campus. And you can see that this tree is in a construction site and it's had all sorts of compaction and issues there. And if you look up in the canopy of the tree, you can see it's lost a lot of branches. You can't really see what's going on there. But if we were to look up close at some of those branches that have been pruned, we would see these cankers, these same hypoxylon cankers, those smooth patches kind of underneath where the bark has flaked off, you'll see these cankers forming. So hypoxylon are secondary problems. They affect trees that are already highly stressed or damaged by some other factor. So in this case, it was probably construction. That's a common issue for our landscape trees and our urban trees. But drought is another huge trigger for hypoxylon cankers that can happen in both kind of more urban settings as well as forests and woodlands. So what does hypoxylon canker look like? Well, you can't really tell when a tree has become infected because the trees remain totally healthy until some other type of stress occurs. Maybe that fungus is in them, but it's not doing much. And even the initial symptoms after some stress occurs, like yellowing of the leaves and wilting, can kind of overlap with drought or any other kind of issue or stressor. This stage will probably go unnoticed, or it can progress really slowly. You'll get a gradual dieback of the canopy as those branches are individually killed. In this picture, you can see some of that. You can see that smooth patch up in the canopy, and it's probably going to get progressively worse little by little over time. After a branch or trunk is dead, you're going to see the more distinctive canker symptoms. So these fungal mats form under the bark, and then the bark thins and eventually flakes away to reveal this hard, flat surface, this smooth canker of the fungus. Initially, these smooth plates, which are called stroma, are light in color, so this white to a tan color. Over time, they're going to darken to more of a smooth gray, deep gray or black color. These are actually the places where the fungi are producing spores. So they're making different types of spores and different colors of cankers. And those spores are going to make more fungi if they can land on a suitable host and infect. These patches are probably the most easily observed and characteristic sign of hypoxylon canker. But remember, a note that when we see these, it tells me that tree is stressed and tells me hypoxylon canker is there, but it doesn't necessarily tell me what caused that problem to begin with. Here you can see these symptoms, the gray to black smooth plates of the canker. And while we know this tree is dead and you're going to see these cankers all along the main trunk, if I'm seeing that, that is a sign that tree is like dead or extremely close to it. And we know that this hypoxylon probably played a role in it, and maybe it acted as a nail in the coffin. Who knows what started this to begin with? This oak tree, I have no idea what triggered its initial decline in this woodland setting, but we know that hypoxylon canker probably played a role a little bit down the road. So which trees are impacted by hypoxylon canker? Globally, there are many different species of hypoxylon, or actually Biscognioxia now, fungi that cause cankers on many different trees. And combined with the drought, they are a central factor in widespread tree declines and death in many different places. Now here, in the eastern U.S. and the southeastern U.S., there's one species in particular that's most common, and it's most commonly impacting oaks, especially red oaks. You can find it on other species as well, but you will see a lot of hypoxylon canker on red oaks. So hypoxylon commonly contribute to the death of trees. And while it can be an issue in forests and woodlands and other natural settings, you'll see it a lot in urban settings as well. Trees that maybe have been injured or aren't getting the care that they need or already under stress near some new construction. This is actually one of my neighbor's red oak trees. And you can see that, yeah, it's got some of these smooth patches, and I'll scan up so you can see some of those. But it's not the only issue here. It also has oak bracket fungus all over the base, which is causing and wood rot at the base of the tree. It's probably got lots of other issues that we can't see, a lot of invasive plants like winter creeper growing up it. So the hypoxylon canker is just one of many different things that are taking advantage of the stressed tree and driving its decline. So we definitely see those smooth patches of the hypoxylon all the way up the trunk. When I see that tree, I know its time is very limited. And that tree is under extreme stress. So that's that tree. And here's that exact same tree about a year later. This tree is dead. You can see they're taking down some of these branches because of the risk that they pose from dropping. And if we look up closer, we can see that it still has those hypoxylon cankers, but they are more of that black color. And the bark is flaking off. There's lots of other fungi that are in there that are also causing problems. So just a little on the progression of that. Now, was a hypoxylon canker the thing that drove the stress of the tree? My guess is that it wasn't, but once that tree was stressed, it certainly took advantage of the conditions. So what are some potential lookalikes to hypoxylon canker? There are lots of other cankers that you might see on trees. So these here are some bleeding cankers, kind of look like oozing on the outside of the trees. You might see that caused by different fungi and other organisms. You might see cankers like this Nectaria canker here. And it looks really different from that hypoxylon canker, right? But you still see the fungus sporulating. You see kind of sunken bark and distorted growth with that. All of these ones, this is a fungus that has again moved in on some kind of wounding or stress and is growing more locally here. And when I see this, though, I think of it more as being a sign of maybe improper pruning or wounding than something that's like this tree is dead and dying immediately. There's other things too that you might notice and say, "Huh, what's that?" This is smooth patch of oak. It is a fungal infection that kind of causes some of the bark to flake off, but it's not particularly damaging to the tree. It just kind of can look a little bit like that hypoxylon canker from a distance. And there are lots of other fungi and lichens that you might see just growing superficially on the outside of a log or a piece of wood that are different. So just lots of different things that you might see. And back to hypoxylon canker, there's really no chemical management approach that's going to directly target this. Since these fungi live, in healthy trees, they're ubiquitous and they really don't cause problems. They're only a problem after the trees become stressed. It's really hard to kind of stop them from getting in the tree because they were already in that tree when that tree was much younger. So instead, the best management approach is probably to reduce the tree's stress and keep your trees healthy. Anything you can do to minimize wounding and promote the health of the tree is going to be beneficial for hypoxylon. So whether that's maybe reducing compaction, mulching, watering, reducing damage from construction in more of an urban area, things like appropriate site selection, tree selection, maintenance, all of those things can be really beneficial for trees' health. Now, they're not directly targeting the hypoxylon, but still trying to promote the health so that it's going to not be a problem in the future. In an urban setting, it may also be worthwhile to prune out infected branches, mostly because of the potential hazard they can cause if those branches drop. Now, in the woods, that's really not possible. You're going to see hypoxylon on dead logs and lots of other things, and it's just a normal part of our systems. So hopefully that tells you a little bit more about hypoxylon canker, what it is, and what it means for your trees. If you see it, it's a sign that that tree is under extreme stress, but it's not necessarily the thing that's driving that stress. So thanks for joining me today and learning a little bit more about hypoxylon canker.
Thank you so much. I always learn so much when you're doing that. And I know a couple of times that you've done something and I was like, oh, my tree has that.
Well, this one featured some trees near to me, just because you do see it so commonly.
Right.
And it's kind of one of those things where this is a native fungus. This is a part of our natural communities. This is not something that the trees have never dealt with, but it definitely can be an issue for those stressed trees and taking them out. So not something you want, but also something to recognize. And if you see it, it's a big red flag that your tree's got some problems that either you need to address and try to promote the health of that tree, or you need to start thinking about what comes down the road when that tree dies.
Yeah.
We had a comment. It seems like the canker is just accelerating a death process that's happening anyway. Is that correct?
For sure. Yeah, I view this very much in the class of nails in the coffins. So this is
And once you've got that,
yeah. Once I see this, especially if it's on the main trunk of the tree, time is limited. Now in branches, you'll see it on fallen branches, logs in the forest, very, very common, just breaking down that woody material. So not a concern there. But if it's happening a lot in the branches, it's telling you that tree is stressed. There is some problem there that either you need to address or it will be addressed by the death of the tree shortly.
Yes, yes, not on your terms, right? So, but I think that's really valuable information, Dr. Crocker, right? I mean, it really helps people make informed decisions that are appropriate at the right time. Once they know that's there, then they really know that tree's got to come out of there. So,
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
I mean, yeah, a heavy subject, but really important that we're aware of it and know how to deal with it. So, I mean, again, the work you do here for our forests is so important. So, thank you. Really, we do appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me on today.
Greatly appreciate it.
Always great.
Bye.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
Awesome show, Billy. That was really
Yeah, we had a first timer guest. Really appreciate Caleb for that. It was really good. So if you know people, in the Cumberland River area or adjacent who have some mine land that needs to be reclaimed, let's get them in touch with the Cumberland River Compact. What is that? info@cumberlandrivercompact.com or .org, I think.
Org.
Org. Yes. So please visit with them and take care of that. And if you unfortunately see hypoxylon on your trees, you've got some issues going on, so just, deal with it appropriately, I guess, the best you can. So, but really appreciate Dr. Crocker and all the work she does. But Renee, thank you for lining up some great guests as always, man.
No problem.
Cool.
But speaking of lineup, all the things that we've ever done in every episode is on FromTheWoodsToday.com. So there's several, I don't know how many What's Bugging My Trees Dr. Crocker has done.
A lot.
There are a lot, and it's awesome. So, but there's a lot of different things. So if there's something bugging your tree, you might could go to FromTheWoodsToday.com and go, there it is.
Let Dr. Crocker educate you on what's going on with it. Yes.
Exactly. And there's also a survey there, Billy, that you can, ask us questions if you want.
Yeah, if you all are dealing with stuff out there in your woods, we say it all the time. There's probably others out there that are dealing with it as well. Let us know. If you see something new or something out of the ordinary, let us know. We want to get ahead of some of this. We certainly got a few threats that on the horizon out there. But if there's challenges you're having with your woods or wildlife or whatever, let us know, because hopefully we can help you. Renee does such a good job of tracking down somebody who can help us. But we want to help you deal with those issues, right? The show's all about trying to make our forests and natural resources as robust and healthy as possible, but you're a big part of that. So let us know what you're seeing and how we can help you all be better stewards.
Definitely. And until then, we will see you all next week. You all have a blessed day, and we will see you later. Take care.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.